What management means and how become a great manager, this is not an easy topic. But today I will show you 5 books that you can read and you can learn from to become an amazing manager in your own business or maybe where you are employed. So if you want to learn these 5 books and what they are about and how they helped me to become a better manager, then stick to the end of this video and you will learn all of these 5 books. Hey Budai Nation, I'm happy that you are here on this channel. The purpose of this channel and my purpose is to help more e-commerce owners out there, because I can see so many of them, they simply don't believe how great heights they can achieve if they really have a proper mindset and they have the right knowledge to implement the right things. My personal goal is to help at least 1,000 e-commerce business owners in the next few years, and I want to work with them directly because I really believe in this. I don't want to sell some shitty course to them, but we really want to get great results for them because I know so many people, they need encouraging words out there. So if you want to join the journey and you want to learn e-commerce and customer retention, you want to improve in this, then go down, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell. And now let's go back to the video. So the first book that I want to show you is a very well-known one. It's called The High Output Management, and this is really the Bible. This is a really condensed summary of business management. And this book is written by Andrew Grove, who was an immigrant from my country, actually from Hungary to the US, and he became the CEO of Intel in the Silicon Valley. And the foreword was written by the author of the second book I will recommend to you, Ben Horowitz. But the point is, so this guy, he was the mentor of several CEOs and founders in the Silicon Valley, such as Mark Zuckerberg, or the founder of Apple, Steve Jobs, or Toby Latke, the CEO of Shopify. So many different well-known entrepreneurs in the Silicon Valley, and all of them, they are really grateful to this guy that he wrote this book. And this is a bit more than 220 pages, and if I just look up the contents, what he talks about. So he uses an analogy, a breakfast factory where they make eggs and toast bread to people to just give them breakfast. So that's the analogy there. But as you move forward in the book, as you read the book, by the end of it, this breakfast factory becomes a national and international company. It becomes a huge company. And he starts talking about management, hybrid organizations, dual reporting, and all of these very complex stuff actually. So even a company with a very simple product can become quite complex once it becomes big. But at the beginning he talks about project management, how to make decisions, how to make plans, how to make meetings, the different types of meetings, and then later he talks about the team of teams. So when your company becomes bigger, while dual reporting must be very important, what are the modes of control, and also in the end he talks about the players, so your team members, and he uses a sports analogy, how to compensate them, how to motivate them, but also how to decide when you should fire someone, aka remove them from your team. So this is an amazing book and I highly recommend it. And if you want to learn all the basics about management, then start with this one. So the next one is by Ben Horowitz, and the book's title is The Hard Thing About the Hard Things. And he's a startup founder from the Silicon Valley again, and he exited with this company, but along the journey he faced many difficult situations. This book is a bit more advanced than the previous one, and this is highly recommended for CEOs as well, because in this book he talks about more basic things of management but also more advanced. For example, how to hire and fire an executive, or what pitfalls you can face with when you try to attract and hire executives or managers from bigger companies than yours, and also what questions to ask from these people if you want to hire them. Just a few other things, I'm just looking at my notes. So another takeaway for me, what I really learned from this book, is that it's completely okay to put pressure on your employees and managers, because actually the person who is probably the worst person to tackle with pressure is the owner and the founder of the company. So that's why you shouldn't be afraid to really put pressure on your employees, because that's why you pay them, and they should be okay with their responsibilities and the pressure on their shoulders. The next one is a bit unique book. This is written by Danielle Coyle and it's called The Culture Code: The Secrets of Highly Successful Groups. And especially because it's not a typical management book, it's not a dry book, I would say, but it's a very motivating book, and this talks about winning cultures across not just in the business world, but this guy, he did a ton of research in different fields, in the field of musicians and sports and also business and many different fields, and he come up with examples from US Navy SEALs, Team 6, IDEO and San Antonio Spurs, the basketball team, and he tells you how these successful teams they operate. So here are a few things that I learned from this book. Culture is not something you are, it's not something, how you were born, but it's something that you do. And also it's not something that you say, but again, it's something that you do. And it's crucial because people, they tend to think that, certain people fit a certain culture based on what they say or how they were born, how they are. But no, it completely depends on your actions. And if you do the right actions, you will be a good fit for a certain culture. Another characteristic of a successful company culture is that people, they simply enjoy being a part of that company. And ideally, they like being there because it's a successful group. You achieve success together, and success is really addictive. Another thing in successful culture is individualization, which means that everyone accepts each other as they are and they don't try to, limit each other. Also, another principle I learned from this book is that when there is a winning culture and winning company, you can sense that there is a very good energy flow between the team members, and you can really see that they invest into the relationship. Everyone does it, and that's how information, knowledge and ideas and creativity really flows between the different team members. And finally, this book talks about how to manage people and how to lead people when it comes to performance as the goal. So this is more like an army structure, let's say a military structure, when you have KPIs and you have to hit them and it's all about execution, versus how to lead people and manage them when it comes to creativity, when there is no really a number or a really solid thing that you want to achieve, but it's more about coming up with great ideas and then delivering on them. This is a very different leadership and management style, and this book breaks up these two, and you will learn this from this book. The next book is by Verne Harnish, Scaling Up: How a Few Companies Make It and Why the Rest Don't. And this is not a long book again, so it's a bit more than 220 pages. However, this is quite condensed because this guy, so Verne, he's worked with over 40,000 companies, and many of them they could scale from a few $1 million in annual revenue beyond $1 billion in revenue, and he coached many businesses to scale them to that level. And in this book you will find many referrals to other books, other resources. He talks about many other books and masterminds and names, and ideally I recommend that you should take your time to look into those other resources, because especially for those topics where you want to have more clarity and more understanding. So even if the book is not that long, this will take quite much time for you to read it and going through the whole book and really study what you want. Also with the book you will get PDFs and several pages that you should fill out. Also many of them they should be done with your team, at least with your management team. So this is really an action plan and not just a book for you. In the book there are 4 areas and you should go one by one and in this order. So the first one is people. You should have the right people on the bus, and then strategy is the next one, and then execution. And once all of these 3 are on the right path, then cash, the 4th area, can come as well. So Scaling Up, it's a great book as well, and check it out. Ideally you should get the physical book, but you can also get the audio. The next one is not a typical management book again, because there is a lot of storytelling in this one. I think out of these 5 books, this one has the most story. This book is written by one of the founders, the co-founders of Pixar, and they worked on several great animation movies such as Toy Story, The Incredibles, WALL-E, Cars, Nemo, you name it. So they really ruled this space for more than a decade, and they got bought up by Disney, and I think they are still there. So this book is written by Ed Catmull. I also get the physical book, and I really like this one because again it has a lot of stories from a great storyteller, and there are management and leadership principles in this one, but I think if you like stories and that's how you can learn, then this book is really for you. And this is really about creative management, so you will learn a lot about it, and he shares a lot of structural things what you can do and what you can infiltrate into your company. One of them is the post-mortem meetings, where they really analyze the success or the not success of their latest projects and movies. So that's something you can do, and that's how you can learn from your previous projects, and that's how you can grow as a company, but also as an expert and a manager. And the other thing is what he mentions all the time is the brain trust. So they have a few people in their companies who are the best leaders and managers, but also the most creative people in their team, and they really group together regularly, and then they come up with great ideas that they can implement in the next few months and next few years. And that brain trust is something that is quite famous in their company and even outside of their company, but it's really damn hard to get into this brain trust. So I really think that every company should have a meeting and a small group of people like that, who are really the core creative people and leaders of the company. So here are a few principles from the book. I will just read them out loud. Give a good idea to a mediocre team and they will screw it up. But give a mediocre idea to a great team and they will either fix it or come up with something better. So this really shows you that why people are even more important than your strategy. If you don't strive to uncover what is unseen and understand its nature, you will be ill prepared to lead. It's not the manager's job to prevent risks. It's the manager's job to make it safe for others to take them. This is crucial because many people, they try to avoid risk all the time. You shouldn't avoid it. You should just make it safe to fail. Not just for you, but for your whole team. The cost of preventing errors is often far greater than the cost of fixing them. A company's communication structure should not mirror its organizational structure. Everybody should be able to talk to anybody. This is crucial as well because when you are a small company, it's almost like a family. Everyone can talk to anybody, right? But once you get bigger, you pass 10 people, 50 people, maybe 1,000 people, then there is an organizational structure. And many people, they are in silos, they are in departments, and there is no opportunity anymore to talk to somebody else in a completely different department. And that's a problem because in that case, creativity will disappear in your company. And you don't want that because then it really means that you are destined to extinct in the future. And here's a bonus book before you leave, because I think this book is legendary and this is probably the most well-known book when it comes to management and leadership, and this is by Jim Collins, Good to Great, Why Some Companies Make the Leap and Others Don't. If you read the first 5 books that I recommended, then many of them and most of them, they will talk about this book, because this is widely known and the concepts are really known. You will find in the other 5 books as well. So I will just tell you a first few principles. But before, who is the author here? So who is Jim Collins? He authored few books on entrepreneurship and management, but this is the most well known because in this book he took 25 companies from different industries, different sizes, some of them on the New York Stock Exchange, others they are not, and with different executive teams in different ages. Also, some of them they are more established companies, others they are less established. So they did a research for decades, and he followed these companies for decades and he studied them, how they became great eventually or how they rather declined, and he tried to find out the common characteristics of these companies, and he found a few concepts that you will find in the book. I think this book is less analytical. I mean, there are definitely logical concepts, which is important because that's the, the takeaway. On the other hand, the book itself is quite motivational. You will find quite many real stories. So I think that's why it's actually relatable for almost anyone. So here are a few concepts from the book. The 5 levels of leadership. This one is also in the other 5 books I recommended earlier, but he mentions 5 different levels of leadership, and if you want to become a great leader, you must achieve the level 5, which means that you eventually become a very selfless leader and you put your team ahead of you, and that's the most important for you. He says in our society we have actually quite many level 5 leaders, and our shared interest, it's society's best interest to really find these people and really make them our real leaders. The next one is the hedgehog concept. So if your company doesn't have this, then it's very hard to achieve anything in your industry. You should have a concept in your head and in your executive's head, in your manager's head, what is our industry about, where this industry is going in the future, and what we do about it and how we do things. It all comes from this hedgehog concept. So this one is also crucial. You will find it in the book. The next one is technology accelerators, and how leading companies, they think differently about technology than lagging companies. And what he found is that the best companies, they understand that the driver of success and high performance, they are amazing people, and it's not technology. Technology is something that can help people to achieve higher productivity, but technology itself alone, it cannot be the core of advancement and high productivity and success of the company. It's all about the people, and technology just accelerates how they operate. And then the last one is the flywheel and the doom loop, and you will find this in the book. It's really crucial to understand the difference between the two and why those companies who always change directions, they ultimately fail. So hey Budai Nation, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you enjoyed this one, make sure that you go down and you hit the subscription button. Also, if you want to get updated about my newest videos, then hit the notification bell. And remember, here at Budai Media, we want to help e-commerce businesses grow with increasing the lifetime value and the retention rate of their customers. We don't do ads, we don't do SEO, but we strive for your business to have more returning customers. In the next few years, I want to work with at least 1,000 companies and help them scale to the moon. And finally, before leave, I want to recommend a video to you as well. So in this other video, I will talk about 3 books on customer retention, especially e-commerce. So I will put the thumbnail around here and just click there and you can enjoy this video as well.